Eh bien, salut à tous, on est de retour pour une suite de cette matinée avec Ulvind, qui malheureusement a très mal démarré. Mais on va repartir sur un truc un peu plus chill,
C'est
avec
ça.
du golf
C'est ça.
pour le coup. Et du golf un petit peu spécial.
Bah, déjà, voilà, c'est. Comme le titre le suggère, c'est du golf, mais de façon pas du tout efficace.
Voilà.
Voilà, faut pas chercher à comprendre. Faut pas chercher à comprendre beaucoup de choses ici. Ça va être. Ça va être marrant. Honnêtement, c'est un jeu qui est marrant. Qui est beaucoup plus marrant que Mario Kart en tout cas. Mais. Il est beaucoup plus marrant.
While we're still getting started here, I can talk a little bit about the game before the run starts. This is a very non-traditional golf game. We're not going to be using any clubs whatsoever to move the ball. The only way to move the ball around the course is to use a series of remote mines. Think like the remote mines you get in GoldenEye. That's a good approximation. And you're going to be using those to launch the ball all over the course. You also have to keep in mind that when you attach the mines to the golf ball, mines do have a certain amount of weight, and they also have maybe hitbox is not the right word, but they do have collision. That's the right way to put it. So you have to keep that in mind as well, especially if you're trying to fit the ball into some pretty tight spaces. If you have a stack of mines there, it might bonk and it'll throw your shot off. There's also a timing element involved, of course, as far as you have 4 different sets of mines you can use. You could put down 16 mines, 4 of each different color group. You can set them off in any order with any timing you like. So you can really make some very inventive shots with it. For the first couple of holes, I do see we're getting started now. For the first couple of holes, it's not going to be too crazy. You're just going to be chipping the ball in the general direction of the hole. Most of the holes here are kind of at the bottom of a bowl. So you just kind of get the ball close and hope that it doesn't take too long to roll in. I know he's playing on the Switch version. When I play this on PC, the keyboard moves the camera or your aim rather slowly, but it will move it in straight, 90-degree directions. You can also use the mouse, which moves it much more quickly. But if you're off by a couple of degrees here and there, that can throw your shot off as well. The second hole here, we're just going to bounce the ball off of the backboard here, or he's going to spike the ball. Now, that's another way you can do it as well. If you get a good bounce off the backboard, it can just fall right into the cup. But if you bounce off the backboard and you don't get a good shot, it'll just spin, roll around it'll do a couple of laps around the cup before going in. Let's get through this hole before I really talk a little bit more about that. So we're going to launch the ball up and over the ridge here. And if we get good timing on the second set of mines, it can go right into the cup. Hole 3 is very easy to get some hole-in-ones in. If your time's a little bit off, you're going to have to take your second shot. That's generally easier than resetting your shot for the hole-in-one. It is not always faster to get a hole-in-one in certain situations in this game as well, depending on the kind of momentum you're working with. Ulvind takes this hole a little bit differently tonight. He's going to launch the ball pretty high up in the air and then try to spike the ball down into the cup. We're going to get in the bowl, so it's going to roll a little bit, but that'll be a hole-in-one. For most of this game, we're going to be in kind of a tin cup situation. If you've seen, I know, golf movies, I understand, with Kevin Costner, I get it. But if you've seen that Kevin Costner movie, you might remember the scene at the end where I guess he's on hole 17 or whatever, and he wants to hit this shot from like 200 something yards over the water hazard. He doesn't get it, so he tries again. He's up losing the tournament, shoots like a 12 on the hole, but he hit the shot eventually, and it's great and fantastic, and everybody's happy. That's this entire speedrun kind of encapsulated. There are very fast ways to get through certain holes. But if you miss them by a little bit, you're gonna have to restart the hole. You've got to, re-aim everything. You're gonna end up out of bounds, and you're just gonna lose a ton of time because this is we're not going for a low score. We're going for speed here. Ulvind takes the same strategy I do on this cup, but it did just get caught in the corner there. Just kind of what I'm talking about. If you're off by a little bit, even if you make the right shot, just the timing of like your double jump there can throw everything off, or if you're off by a couple of degrees. you'll end up in the corner and the ball won't roll into the cup.
Là, on passe de l'autre côté et on
He does take this hole very differently than I do. He wants to stick the ball right there. That's a much more consistent strategy than the one I use. I usually go up that big old wall there, and you want to get up and over the wall. But then the ball's very high up in the air, and you can't score until the ball comes down. So if you don't actually get the hole in one with the way that I do the hole, it's actually going to be a lot longer than what we're looking at here. But if you get the hole in one, it looks so good. It's so fast. But you need a lot of things to go right with that strategy going over the wall. He goes around the wall. That should go into the, there we go, into the cup.
Du coup,
We're on the hole 8.
les premiers trous, voilà, ça se fait simplement. C'est pas non plus. C'est pas.
Nothing too crazy here. We're gonna launch the ball up about 45 degrees and put some mines on the front. So we can stop the ball's forward momentum. We don't want to overshoot the cup here, but we want to get it there as quickly as possible, of course.
Viser au bon endroit.
That was a little mistake. All right, we're gonna have to shoot that one again.
1, 4 et ensuite.
Generally, you want the ball to land between the sand trap and the cup there, and it will eventually. The ball will still have some forward momentum, and it will roll into the cup. That's a little bit better. Hey, okay. Not too much rolling around either there, to be honest.
On va pas se mentir. Quand tu
To 9, it's gonna basically shoot the same shot here on 9.
ma première run,
We just need to clear the dynamite.
depuis.
Ooh, and he doesn't actually put any mines in the front there. That's a nice quick shot there if you don't overshoot.
Ça, je trouve pas ça mauvais. On va pas se mentir.
Hole 10, he Ulvind's gonna go under this big wall-like structure here in front of us, then spike the ball up, kind of like in volleyball, shoot the ball up and over towards the pin. This is also very, very nice and consistent. You're gonna hit these shots pretty much every time because these are pretty easy shots to make. If you go up and over the wall, you've got a chance to hit the hole in one, but it's another situation where if you're off by a little bit, you'll see some concrete up here by the hole. And if you bounce off of that, the ball's just going to go flying out of bounds, and you're going to lose all the time you might have saved. But if you can at least stay on the green up there, it'll save you one shot. If you get the hole in one, it'll save you 2 shots, which will save you some time. But again, you have to weigh how consistent you can get that shot to stick where you need it to stick. The whole location on 11 is terrible. There are many holes where you can't see the pin from where you tee off, and this is one of them. You really do have to go all the way around the course here to get a clean shot at the cup. If you want to keep the ball kind of low on the ground like this, you're gonna have to go on a little bit of a tour of the cup. But you gotta be careful not to overdo it. Because there is dynamite there by the green. I'm not sure if he's going to shoot this right at the pin or try and bounce the ball around here. We'll see what he does.
C'est pour ça que je dis, si tu regardes.
I'm going to take it. He's going to take it around the air quote intended path here. You can shoot the ball right at the pin from that last shot location, but you don't have any back. You don't have a backboard or anything to work with. So you got to make sure you don't overshoot it there. Or you're just going to end up wasting more time than you're going to save.
Alors là, ce qu'on va faire, c'est qu'on va viser.
See, this one's not too bad. You can't really see where the pin is, but there's no roof over the pin. There's no roof over the tee box. It's just going to be up and over. And generally stop the ball roughly over the pin. It's in a nice little bowl here, so it should roll down into the cup. The only thing about those bowls is usually the corners of those sections are flat. So if the ball rolls a little bit too high there, you can get stuck in the corner, which will just cost you a second shot. This is another situation where I go over this wall. Ulvind takes a strategy I started when I started learning this speed run. He uses the shot I used then. He's gonna go around the wall, and this is a tricky shot. I gave up on trying to do this shot. He's found a setup that really works well here, though. But when we get to the pin, you're going to see what the real issue with this cup is. Stay. Okay. So we're in a sand trap. That's okay. The sand doesn't really affect it. It's just the fact that there might be a little bit of a bowl here that you have to work with. But you can see the pin is on top of these 4 ramps, which means if you're not on the green, you're gonna roll off the green and probably out of bounds. The other thing is these walls on top of the ramps. Those are terrible. If you hit them really, really hard, they break up. But even if they break up, the pieces don't despawn. So if you either hit the bottom of the wall not hard enough, or if you get really unlucky with the debris will fall into the cup and you have to restart the entire hole because you can't despawn the wall and you can't get the ball in the cup. I'm gonna pull some Sonic shots here. We're gonna go right up this ramp. There we go. You want to be careful if you're right on the wall here. When you drop your mines down, they may clip into the wall, and because the mines have a contact box, that can be kind of an issue. But since they're shooting away from the wall, he might be okay here. Or we may need to modify the shot a little bit, but I think we're gonna be fine.
Nice. Voilà, c'est exactement comme ça que je voulais.
Right into the gap.
Tranquillement en descendant la barrière.
There we go. And then the pin is right around the curve up here. If you try to like ride the curve around, you're generally not gonna get the ball into the pin that way. You need to like chip it up and then set up a second set of mines to shoot the ball at the pin to kind of get a shot on goal, if you will. But that's generally still going to be a 2-shot strategy because you're really shooting into the dark from there. Oh no! And it just rimmed out. That's tough.
Vous n'avez rien vu.
And then the worst thing you can do after that is the mines have a set strength. They have a set amount of explosive power. So if you're really close like that, you got to make sure, let me just chip the ball. No, you got to make sure you put the mine up a little bit on the ball to take some of the speed off, or you're going to overshoot the hole at that location. And then you're going to be 3-putting, and nobody wants to do that. That just feels so bad.
Pour permettre de vous arrêter quand vous êtes de l'autre côté. Ensuite, vous explosez la première, vous êtes au-dessus du truc, la deuxième, vous passez de l'autre côté, la troisième.
That might be a little early. Oh my goodness. That was close. Usually this wall is not an issue. You can see it fell the other way, but it's still there. If you get it on the bottom, this wall can fall on the cup, but usually you're not taking a shot where that's going to be an issue.
Le numéro 2 ici, donc ça va être assez... Alors,
3 holes left. We're just gonna rip it here. We're gonna try to push the ball over the entire course here. Well, not the entire course, the entire hole here. He's gonna put some mines on the front of the golf ball. You can't put too many because again, they have a certain amount of weight and you need to carry the distance. So you need a lot of work out of these 2 blue mines he's putting on the front. They have to do a lot. They have to stop your momentum. They have to cut into the fans that are over here a little bit. They can't stop your momentum so much to bounce off that red thing, which is made out of rubber and will just bounce the ball off. But they do need to stop your momentum enough to keep you from falling off the back. The position and the timing of those last 2 mines is so important. Just a couple of degrees one way or the other, or just half a second too early or too late, and that ball could go absolutely anywhere on that particular pin location. That was good work on 16. To get out of there pretty cleanly. 17, we've got a roof overhead off the tee box. We need to clear that, but then we need tons of altitude and forward momentum. It's a little short and I'll take it, but that'll work. We do want the ball to stop right here. You can see the pin is just surrounded by this TNT. I saw Ulvind, he likes to try to spike the ball up and then down into the cup. This time he's just gonna clear out a bunch of the dynamite there. You want the ball to stop here on your first shot, though, because when you're trying to collect the explosive barrels, if the ball goes out of bounds or if you hit the respawn, take your reshot button, and the ball will go right back here. And you can just keep taking out barrels until you've got a clean shot on the pin here.
Vous tapez 2-3 mines. Là, je perds un peu.
Now, if he kept, you can make the ball jump, and I think if he kept spamming the jump button, he might have gotten the ball in the cup on that shot. But the ball is moving so slowly, it's almost better just to take the second shot there. You just don't have a lot of speed. Now we're on to the last hole, because I think this is just a course 1 any percent. I want to start off 18 going the wrong way. And again, there's another T location with a roof overhead. You need to get out from under that, spike the ball up in the air, and then basically we want to land right on top of the T, but on top of the ceiling that's above the T. I think there's actually even 2 levels above our head from this T location. So we do need a lot of altitude once we get clear of the roof. Boom. Go. Oh, all right. There's another one. You need to stay. Don't. That is. Ooh, that's a nice spot. Yeah, I wish I could get the ball to stop right there every time. You can see the issue with this pin location though. It's way up on that ramp, and there are fans there. He's gonna try and play some skee ball with it. The other strategy you can do is to try the volleyball up there. Just serve the ball up here. You're gonna set it into the air, then use a second set of mines to spike the ball at the general direction of the cup. Thankfully, knock on wood, it hasn't come up on this run, and hopefully it won't come up on 18 here either. Sometimes if you hit the ball with too much speed, it doesn't register that you got the ball in the cup. It can be frustrating, to say the least, to get the ball into the cup, but it didn't get into the cup. And that time it just stayed right in. 15-17, that's a pretty good time, actually. Not too much fuss on hole 18 either. Because man, if you can't get the ball in the cup, that you could be there, be taking a lot of shots at 18, just trying to thread the needle there. The fans are awful. If it wasn't for the fans, it'd be a lot easier. That is it for Super Inefficient Golf. That's going to be it for Ulvind's runs as well, I think. I closed out of the schedule to pull up the game on mine just so I could take a sneak peek at the holes that were coming up. Coming up next is Etienne. Speedrunning The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and all dungeons bug limit run, and then commentary on our end from Midwest Speed. It's going to be I of Newt and Strife the Historian. Strife the Historian. It looks like it's italicized here on the schedule, so let me put the emphasis on the correct syllable. There is a second course for this game as well, and it's absolutely bonkers. I haven't even tried to do a run of it. The whole pin locations are absolutely bizarro there. But thank you for having me for commentary. Enjoy the rest of the event, everybody.
Je vais aller pleurer toutes les larmes de mon corps et boire pour oublier. Et je vous souhaite une très bonne journée et voilà, Black Lives Matter et surtout, je sais pas, lavez-vous bien les mains, restez bien à 1 mètre l'un de l'autre. Parce que oui, c'est pas parce qu'on est en déconfinement qu'il faut abandonner les mesures de distanciation sociale. Voilà. Bonne journée.
Merci à toi en tout cas d'avoir postulé et puis d'avoir rené moult jeux.
C'est ça. Mais je pense que je pense que, à mon avis, c'est juste Mario Kart qui a voulu faire du Mario Kart. Donc,
c'est possible. Ok, et du coup, messieurs, dames, on va repasser en temps de setup, le temps de mettre tout ça en place, et puis on revient très vite pour du Breath of the Wild.